Ako lang ba yung napipikon sa mga ganitong ads? No? Kung rin nag-scroll ka lang sa TikTok, tapos may gaming ads na parang, how do I move? Or, okay, anong pipiliin ko? Yung -2 o yung times 100? I chose -2. Tapos, times 50 or divided by 5? I choose divided by 5. Like, bro, nakakapikon, no? So, tara, panoorin natin. The real reason mobile game companies make fake ads. Let's go.
So, you're watching a YouTube video, just minding your business, and an ad cuts in. On screen, a cartoon guy is about to get hit by a wrecking ball. Below him is a grid of pins. You can see the solution. Pull the left pin first, then the bottom one, and he swings to safety. It takes about 2 seconds to figure out, but the guy in the ad keeps pulling the wrong pins. Over and over. The character screams. He gets squashed. The screen flashes red, and somewhere in your brain, something clicks. I could do that. So you download it, and it's just Candy Crush with a house in the background. The pin puzzle, gone. The screaming man, gone. What you got instead is a match 3 puzzle game you've played 100 times before, dressed up in a different outfit. You've been played. And the thing is, so has a lot of other people. And you keep asking yourself a question.
Hindi ko sila din na-download, pero pikon lang ako na parang, bro, stop making fake ads. Minsan nire-report ko pa. Hindi ko ma-report. Nakakainis lang. Like, stop. Okay, stop.
Why do game companies do this? Wouldn't it
parang Arknights Enfield, free 135 pulls. No, it's not free. Kapag yung pulls is kailangan mo pa pagtrabahuhan, no? Kailangan mo pagtrabahuhan in game, no? Kasi mag-i-spend ka ng time ha? Arknights Enfield, come on. No, it's not free. Okay, it's not free. Ano siya? Paid. Paid by your time. Ang free lang doon na pools, free 5 6 star, and then siguro mga 40 pulls, 50 pulls, yun lang yung free. The rest, yung 86, no.
just be better to put the ads into the real game? So today we're gonna pull apart exactly how that happened.
Bro! Bro, it's what I'm talking about. -3 or yung times, like, bro, stop. It's annoying.
Why it keeps happening, and why the people doing it have almost no reason to stop. To understand how we got here, you have to go back to a time when a phone in your pocket felt like a tiny miracle. It's around 2009, maybe 2010. The App Store is barely a year old. The smartphones in people's hands are slow, the screens are small, and the games running on them are, by any reasonable standard, pretty rough. Okay. But none of that mattered, because the whole thing felt like magic. Angry Birds dropped in 2009. You paid 99 cents and got a physics puzzle game where you flung birds at pigs. That was the whole pitch. The ad, when there even was one, basically just showed you the game. Birds, pigs, slingshot. Download it, and people lost their minds over it. 2 billion downloads.
To be fair, it's addicting. No? Saan kaya ito maglala? Pero nilaro ko siya sa PC, not the phone game. Kalimutan ko na kung ano yun. Basta parang may software na basta Angry Birds pero sa PC.
Then Cut the Rope came out in 2010. Same
addicting din to.
deal. You paid $1, you got a game about feeding candy to a little monster named Om Nom by cutting rope. No fake gameplay, no dramatic characters almost dying. Just, here's the game, here's what it looks like, give us $1. Fruit Ninja, Temple Run, Jetpack Joyride, Subway Surfers.
Bro. Kulang. Zombie Tsunami.
Single one of these games advertised itself honestly, because the game itself was the pitch, the gameplay was the hook. Studios didn't need to lie, because what they actually built was genuinely fun, and the bar for genuinely fun on a phone was low enough in those days that clearing it felt like an achievement. There was something kind of pure about it, a tiny team of developers making something weird and original, charging $1 for it, and watching the whole world download it.
Ngayon, ano na? Please buy it for $50, bro.
App Store felt like a discovery machine. You'd open it and find games that didn't exist anywhere.
Man, the first gacha game that I played, card game siya. Nakalimutan ko yung tawag. It's a card game na na parang nag-i-investigate. Okay, yung character card pero nagba-battle siya. Kalimutan ko na. And then yun talagang gacha na nagko-collect ng characters is Brave Frontier. So that's what I played. Brave Frontier, nandito ba yun? That's Very, very good game. Ayun. Tapos, may nilaro pa ako na ang dami kong account doon. And millions na yung mga BP, no? High blood na siya. Kritika sa mobile game. No, ayun. And yeah. Naalala ko na. Ayakashi Guild card game. Basta something ganyan. Ayakashi, something like that. Yun yung card game. Masa-search ko ba yun? Like, curious lang. Guild game. Phone. Ayun! Ayakashi Ghost Guild. Bro. Andito pa siya. Bro, it's so good. This game. Ito i-share ko sa inyo. Ito. Bro, alam niyo to? Ayakashi Ghost Guild. Like para akong nag-aano dito. Parang detective. Gano'n na pumupunta sa... Alam niyo yung Jujutsu Kaisen, yung season 1? Yung plot niya basically like that. So yun, ito. Summon. So ito talaga yung pinaka-first na nilaro kong game. Na gacha game. Tingnan nga natin kung may maalala tayong kilala ko to. I have that. Ganito siya. Bro. Zynga ba pala to? Zynga? Akala ko for a second that's free run. Bro, napaka-ano naman na ito. Nostalgic. I miss this. Nagulat na lang ako, bigla siyang nawala. And I've gathered many characters na din. So yun lang ginagawa ko, nagko-collect lang ako. Ayan, ito yung sinasabi ko na, oops, copyright pa tayo. Ito yung sinasabi ko na para talaga siyang card, ganyan lang. Pero nagbabattle din siya. Hanap tayo kung ano itsura ng combat na maipakita ko sa inyo. Yan yung team, no? Parang card. Okay. Nasaan yung, mayroon ba dito yung combat showcase? Yan, Ayakashi Ghost Guild, bro. Napakaganda. For me, ewan ko sa inyo kung nilaro nyo man to before. But umabot ba to na anniversary? Kasi hindi ko talaga alam. Naglalaro lang ako. I didn't even know what gacha game means way back before. No? But, okay. And then, Brave Frontier. Alam niyo, bro, nalaro ko yung Brave Frontier nang wala pa yung dagdag stars. Kung ano man tawag doon, nakalimutan ko na. May dagdag stars tapos biglang gagawin mong rainbow. Yung like, ang dami ng upgrade na parang ascension. Sobrang dami na. Yung power creep. Power creep is real. So yun, like, pinili ko pa dun yung lightning element na main character. Kasi gusto ko talaga ng lightning. No, may meta pa yan. Iba-iba. Parang iba-iba pa yung role nila eh. Kasi yung fire, may earth, may dark, may light, may water. Ano pa ba? Pwede mo yung gawing mono team. There's that. And electric. Yun yata yung light. Electric. Basta parang hiwalay pa. Alam ko hiwalay pa yun. No, there's that. And then gagawa ka ng mono team yan para ma-boost yung mga attack na yun. And yung mga main characters, parang kumari yung ibang element, itong water pang support to, itong fire parang pang attack. Mga ganun siya. So good, na-enjoy ko siya nun. And then it died eh. Nung hindi na siya nag-update, tumigil na ako eh. Parang yung last yata na parang may nirelease silang isang OP na character. I pulled for that and then hindi na sila nag-update. Parang mga 2019, 2020 yata yung tinigil ko na. Ayun, sad. Ilang years din. So sana tuloy din sila. Grabe, napaka ano naman ito, nostalgic. So yan na, kung ano-ano ng gacha games yung pinaglalaro ko. Like may nalaro pa akong My Hero Academia, Bleach, Dragon Ball. Hindi naman ako nagtatagal. Pero yun yung mga nagtagal ako. At yung Kritika, I think buhay pa yun ngayon. Pero hindi ko na ma-manage yung Ilan pa yun? Dami yan. Pati may isa pa. na MMORPG siya na talagang ginagrind ko ng sobra. Yung Logress, kung ano man basa doon. Loggers. Bro, I'm a gamer at heart. Nung nagka-cellphone ako, ay, hindi na pala kailangan bumili ng ganito. Hindi ako na-addict sa Clash of Clans, sa Mobile Legends, na-addict dyan. Doon ako sa mga MMO, yung mga gacha games. And until now, ayan, tinatry ko pa rin sila. Abangan nyo yung video ko na 7 days after review ng Mongol Star Dive. Okay? Magiging realistic tayo daw. So ito, Poker by Zynga. Bro, Zynga pala yun. Ayakashi Ghost Guild. Man, I miss that game.
Anywhere else, built specifically for this weird new touchscreen form factor. That era had its own feel. You'd pass a phone around at lunch just to show someone Angry Birds. Your parents would somehow get addicted to Cut the Rope. These games traveled by word of mouth because they were actually worth talking about. But that era had a problem quietly building underneath it. One that would eventually crack the whole thing open. The problem was money. Specifically, the fact that there wasn't enough of it in the 99-cent model. When the App Store first opened, paying $1 for a game felt normal, familiar. It was basically the same as buying a song on iTunes or buying a CD for a game in GameStop. But the App Store moved fast, and it didn't take long for prices to start racing toward zero. Developers started dropping prices to stand out. Then, free games showed up, and suddenly, a paid game sitting next to a free one had to justify its existence just to get downloaded. By 20...
True, no? Na parang karamihan pa ng mga paid games noon ay titingnan mo muna kung pangit o hindi. That's what I see. Mas marami pang good games na free.
12, free-to-play had won, and the game that proved it definitively was Candy Crush Saga. Candy Crush launched on mobile in 2012, and it turned out to be the clearest proof anyone had ever seen that you didn't need to charge for a game to...
Ako lang ba o pinipili talaga na minsan ng game sa Candy Crush na hindi mo ma-clear yung isang stage para lang mapush kang gumastos. Alam mo yun? Na-feel ko rin yun sa Homescapes eh. There's this era na puro ganyan yung ginagawa ko. Like I have these 3 games. Nakalimutan ko yung isa. Nakalimutan ko yung isa. But, gacha game siya na RPG, MMORPG. Tapos, ito, Candy Crush, tsaka Homescapes. Pero mas na-feel ko dito sa dalawa, sa Candy Crush and Homescapes na, bakit ganito? Parang may mga times talaga na, gusto nila akong, hindi ko maklear yung stage. Tapos dun sa gacha game na yun, sorry talaga, nakalimutan ko yung magpupul ka din ng characters. Very, I would say, good game. In-introduce lang yun sa akin ng kapatid ko. Tapos tinry ko, okay, cool gameplay. Para siya din siyang puzzle thing. Tapos dumadamage. I really forgot, man. Kapag, sabihan ko kayo.
Make money from it. You just needed enough people playing it. 70% of players who finished every level never paid a single cent. But the ones who did pay, the ones who got hooked and wanted to keep going and didn't want to wait, paid enough to carry the whole thing. King went from $62 million in revenue in 2011 to $1.8 billion in 2013, multiplying their revenue by 29 times in 2 years. That model had a name in the industry. The players who spent serious money, sometimes thousands, sometimes more, were called whales. And the math that powered the whole machine was simple. Get enough people through the door for free, and
Before
a small percentage
games,
of them will pay for a very
Before
long time.
Genshin.
One mobile publisher reportedly had a single player who spent over $1 million on their platform. One person. This changed what mobile games were trying to do at a structural level. The goal stopped being make a game people want to pay for. It became get as many people as possible into the game, then build systems that convert some of them into long-term spenders. And that second goal had a completely different enemy than the first one did. Once free-to-play took over, the scarcest resource in mobile gaming stopped being good game design. It became eyeballs. By the mid-2010s, the App Store had millions of games. Millions. The average person opened the App Store, got completely overwhelmed, and downloaded whatever was already at the top of the chart.
Sa Clash of Clans ko na talaga na feel na may pay to win. Kasi sa Kritika, mag-grind ka makukuha mo talaga yung kumare may yung pinaka-grinding factor doon bukod sa weapon is yung gems. Bro, doon nagka-crash out talaga ako minsan dati ganon kapag nagka-craft ka ng nagko-combine ka ng gems tapos nabasag. Bro, nakakairita. Nawalan ka na ng gems, nawalan ka pa ng pera. Ganun siya. Tapos minsan kailangan mo para ganyan. So, yung equipment. No, pero hindi ko talaga din masyado dama yung pay to win doon. Pero nung sa Clash of Clans, man, dito mas damang-dama yung mas damang-dama yung. Pero siguro may PVP yun eh. Pero auto kasi siya eh. Yung PVP nung Kritika sa mobile. Pero yung PC na Kritika, yes, I played that too. Yun, damang-dama. Come on, it's MMORPG. Pero let's talk about mobile game lang. So yung Kritika na mobile game, auto kasi yung PVP. So wala, mas mataas na BP, di ba? Mataas ang battle power, blood pressure mo. You win, di ba? Ganon. But here sa Clash of Clans, walang BP. Okay? Walang blood pressure. No, paano mo ngayon makikita na bro, paano ko ba ito tatalunin? No? Sa town hall pa lang, makikita mo na sa itsura ng nila. No? Pag nag-clan war na, scary. Unang tingin, alam mo nang talo na kayo.
Getting to the top of the charts required downloads. Getting downloads required advertising, and advertising cost money. Specifically, a metric the industry runs on called CPI, which stands for cost per install. How much you spend to get one person to download your game. It sounds simple, but it becomes the obsession of...
Okay, so kaya pala may $1 pack sa lahat ng mga gacha games. Hindi lang siya para mag-spend ka, no? It's that kada install, we want you to spend para at least mataas yung CPI, no? Kahit hindi ka continuously mag-spend, pero I mean, you're dipping your toes in it, right? Pero cost per install, no? So nag-install ka, kahit gumastos ka ng 50, like okay na, 50 pesos, 60 pesos na pala ang dollar ngayon, bro. What is happening in the Philippines?
Every mobile game marketing team, because the math underneath it is brutal. If your average player ever spends about 25 cents in your game over their entire lifetime, and it costs you $3 to acquire them, you're bleeding out with every campaign you run. The only way the math works is if a small fraction of your players, your whales, spend enough to cover everyone else. So suddenly there were two numbers a mobile game studio cared about more than anything. How low can we get our CPI, and how many of our installs turn into spenders? Pull those levers right and you have a business. Fail to pull them and you burn through your budget and disappear. This pressure turned user acquisition, which is just the process of getting people to download your game.
To be fair, guys, feeling ko madeded yung Enfield bago mag-anniversary. If, and only if, wala silang inayos, wala silang finix sa game. But, it's sad na parang, guys, give the players what they want. Huh? You're not him again. Nakakainis, no? It's not Enfield video.
Into its own
I'm
discipline.
sorry.
Studios hired entire teams whose only job was to run ads, track which ones worked, and spend money getting installs. And those teams had a tool that would end up changing everything about how mobile games look from the outside. That tool was A/B testing. A/B testing is simple in concept. You make two versions of an ad. You run both of them. You see which one gets more downloads. You keep the winner, throw out the loser, make two more versions of the winner, and run those. Repeat this a few hundred times, and you end up with an ad.
That's what's
Throw out the loser, make two more versions of the winner, and run those. Repeat this a few hundred times, and you end up with an ad that the algorithm has optimized to get as many people to tap as possible. The thing is, the algorithm doesn't care whether the ad is honest. It doesn't care what the game actually looks like. It cares about one number. Did someone tap and download? That's it. So studios started feeding the algorithm everything. Real gameplay footage. Exaggerated gameplay footage.
Okay. Yan! Lalo na yan! Lalo na yan. Hindi ka din-download, but nag-YouTube lang ako and inano ko, ano yan? Hero Wars. Parang ganun. Ginugal ko lang, ano siya parang build, parang Clash of Clans thing. Right? Ganito ba talaga gameplay? Kasi kung ganito, da-downloading ko yan, pero it's not.
Completely made up gameplay footage. And over, the algorithm picked the made up stuff. Fake ads.
May ads ako nakita and din-download. And yun yung Archero. Yun lang.
Meaning ads showing gameplay mechanics that either barely existed in the game or didn't exist at all were simply getting more downloads than honest ones. Nobody sat in a boardroom and said, let's lie to people. The machine just kept surfacing getting more downloads than honest ones. Nobody sat in a boardroom and said, let's lie to people. The machine just kept surfacing the same answer and people kept following it. The studio that became the face of this was Playrix, the company behind Homescapes and Gardenscapes.
Annoying yung ads. Wait, did I just... Bro... The reality. Pero hindi ko nakita yung ads ng Homescapes. Like, talagang nilaro ko lang siya kasi para siyang Candy Crush, you know, para substitute. And it's cute.
Their games were match 3 puzzlers with a story layer on top. Think Candy Crush with a butler named Austin renovating a house. Totally fine games, genuinely popular. But their ads were something else entirely. In the ads, Austin was always in danger. A clogged toilet flooding the bathroom, a fire spreading through the kitchen, a collapsing ceiling. And to save him, you had to pull pins in the right order. A tense little physics puzzle that had almost nothing to do with matching colored tiles.
Meron pang isa, yung parang, ano ba, nilalamig ang baby, ano bang need kailangan gawin? May mga ganun din silang ads.
The ads were dramatic, they were stressful, and they made you want to step in and solve the problem yourself. At launch, the pin-pulling mechanic existed in less than 1% of Homescapes' actual gameplay. It was buried so deep that most players never even reached it. The ads worked so well that the whole industry took notice. Other studios started copying the format, the stressed-out character, the physics puzzle, the dramatic fail. It spread like a template. Okay, so the algorithm found the fake ads, but why do they work? Why does watching a cartoon man nearly drown in a flooded bathroom make you want to download a match 3 game? Two things are happening at once. The first one is what researchers call the competence gap. When you watch someone doing something wrong that you know how to do right, you feel an almost physical need to correct it. Your brain generates the solution automatically and then gets frustrated that nobody is applying it. That frustration is uncomfortable. Downloading the game feels like it resolves it. Royal Match figured out a slightly different version of the same exploit. Royal Match ads. Their ads show someone playing a simple puzzle completely wrong. You're watching a word unscramble game and the player keeps trying hitink when the word is obviously think. You're watching a shooter game and the player keeps picking subtract 10 when there's a giant add 50 right there. It's maddening on purpose. The psychology is create an ad so obviously wrong that someone gets frustrated enough to download the game just to show it how it's supposed to be done. And Royal Match made $3 billion in lifetime spending by May of 2024. So that strategy...
Bro, I know this game pero I never thought na may gumastos dito, na may nag-download talaga dito.
Was clearly not wrong. The second thing happening is something even deeper. The curiosity gap. The ad shows you a scenario with a clear problem, teases attention, and then doesn't resolve it. Your brain, which craves resolution, generates a tiny nagging loop. The only way to satisfy it is to engage. And the easiest way to engage is to tap download. What makes this especially nasty is that neither of these psychological triggers has anything to do with the actual game. Your competence reflex was triggered by a pin puzzle. The game is a tile matcher. Those are not the same thing, but your brain already downloaded the game before it had a chance to figure that out. So we've established that fake ads work, the algorithm loves them, and they're built to short-circuit your brain's decision-making. The obvious question is, why doesn't someone just make them stop? The answer splits into 3 parts, and all 3 of them protect the people running the ads. The first part is legal. Misleading advertising is only illegal when it causes financial harm. Specifically, when it tricks you into spending money on something you wouldn't have bought if you'd known the truth. But the game is free. You download it for nothing. Your loss is a few minutes of your time and the data it harvested from you opening the app. Neither of those makes for a clean
Okay, to be fair.
lawsuit. Since there's no financial damage the FTC can point to and directly tied to a specific ad, the legal
bro, it's killing me.
just aren't there. As one industry analysis put it, if the ad shows something that appears anywhere in the game, even buried behind hundreds of hours of other content, it can technically sidestep the usual definition of false advertising. However, the UK's Advertising Standards Authority did manage to ban Playrix's ads in October 2020. That was a real ruling, and it got coverage. But Playrix's response was to simply add the pin-pulling mechanic deeper into their games, officially making the ads technically accurate, and then keep going. The second part is the ad networks. Platforms like Facebook and Google make money every time someone clicks an ad. A fake ad that generates a lot of clicks is, from the platform's perspective, a highly successful ad. The platform has weak incentive to police content that's performing well, and a very strong incentive to keep serving it because it's generating revenue on both ends. The advertiser pays to run it, and the publisher of the app where it appears earns money when users watch it. The third part is the one that really seals everything. The advertisers themselves don't always know their ads are fake. Some studios farming out their creative work to cheap, fast agencies that use templates and stockish assets and auto-generate variations. They're not building a fake ad on purpose. They're running an optimization process, and the optimization process keeps picking things
Let's
that
make
don't
a game
match
better.
the game. The left hand doesn't always
bro.
know what the right hand submitted. At this point, you might be wondering whether any of this is actually working in the long run. People download the game, find out it's not what the ad showed, and delete it. That sounds like a disaster. And actually, the data says it kind of is. Games using honest ads kept 32% of players after day one. Games running fake gameplay ads kept 14%. That's less than half. Segwise research, 2025, the lifetime value of a user acquired through a fake ad dropped from around 25 cents to around 5 cents compared to a user acquired honestly. And 58% of mobile users said after a bad fake ad experience, they were unlikely to ever interact with a playable ad again. So why does this still make sense as a strategy? Because the CPI on a fake ad is low enough that even that 5-cent lifetime value can go even if you're running enough volume. You get 1 million installs cheaply. 90% of those people delete the game within 48 hours, but 10% stick.
I don't even understand na may mga gumagastos sa... What's this, Dinownload ko lang to because of a collab sa Walking Dead. And I love the Walking Dead franchise until they destroyed it. Bro. Pero, ano yun? Survival something? Rules of survival. Ross. Hindi siya basta para siya survival, build na mga kung ano, war. And then, guys, di ko alam kung ano trabaho na ito. Pero I literally have a guild or clan, kung ano man tawag doon sa game na yon, na mga Pinoy. And unlucky nila gumastos. Like, kasi ang trabaho nyo. Like whales, sila literally. And doon sa game na yon na nilalaro, like saglit ko lang yun nilaro. Like, pang ano lang, collect, ganyan. Saglit ko lang siya nilaro. Pero bro, grabe. Yung pag-obtain ng character, ang tagal mag-ipon. Unless gumastos ka talaga. And yung mabilis na resource, parang hiwalay kasi yung diamonds doon. So let's make it this short na lang. Ma-obtain mo yung mga walang kwentang characters. Yung may collab sila sa Walking Dead, yung free character lang yung nakuha ko doon, si Daryl. Because of Dog. I love Dog. Okay? So, si Dog, ayun, tangke siya doon, hindi siya namamatay. So, that's good decision. Nagre-regen lang siya kapag nag-low yung health niya. Tapos, yan, pag puno na ulit, pupunta na ulit siya sa frontline, mga ganyan. So, yun, siya lang yung talagang character ko doon na gamit. Tapos may mga nabili ako. Pero yung clan ko doon, bro, ang lakas nila. Feeling ko na-kick na ako eh. No? So kung naglaro ka din doon, feeling ko alam mo yung tinutukoy ko, tapos gumastos ka ng malaki, pwede pa explain why and anong job mo, kung paano. Kasi gusto ko rin yan, na gumastos ng ganong kalaki sa games. Sa gacha games.
Around, and within that 10%, a fraction of a percent spend real money. If your CPI was low enough and your spenders spend enough,
kung may
you
sobrang
technically
laki lang
didn't
akong
lose. It's not
pera,
a great business, but it's a surviving business. And
hindi
in mobile gaming,
nakakainis ang
surviving
Arc
long
Knights
enough to
and
find a whale is the whole game. But something started shifting around 2023 to 2024, and the studios that were paying attention noticed it. Players were getting pattern literate. They'd seen the pin puzzle 100 times. They'd seen the badly played word game. They'd seen Austin screaming in a flooding bathroom. The surprise was gone, and with it, a lot of the click-through rate. The algorithm still preferred fake ads, but the margin over honest ones was narrowing. On top of that, both Apple and Google quietly started pushing for more representative ad content. Not banning fake ads outright, just
Whatever life brings, kakayanin yan with Centrum.
At Food Panda, we're on a mission to make life delicious. With 30% off best
making it incrementally more likely that an ad showing completely different gameplay would get flagged. Enough pressure that bigger studios started hedging. And then the really interesting thing happened. Some studios figured out they could just put the thing in the game. If your pin puzzle ad is what's making people download, and the actual pin puzzle makes players happy when they get to it, why not just build the game around the pin puzzle? Why advertise a game that isn't the game you made? A handful of studios started doing exactly that, taking
Legit
whatever
ba?
was working in their ads and retrofitting it as actual gameplay, sometimes as a bonus.
Ba't ngayon nyo lang yung naisip, no? Like, kung yun Bro, that's crazy! No, lalo na to, yan, kapag nagnonood ako ng ads sa game, like, oh, okay. Ang tagal ko pang naglalaro ng minigame na yan. Why not just make it a game? Okay?
Mode, sometimes as the main thing entirely. The ad wasn't a lie anymore. It was just an early design doc that the game finally caught up to. Whether that trend spreads or gets squeezed back out by the next round of CPI pressure is genuinely unclear. The structural incentives, the whale model, the algorithm optimization, the cheap impressions, those haven't changed. The machine still wants fake ads. Individual studios have started pushing back against it, but the machine is patient. But now let's circle back for a little bit. The data says players who get tricked by fake ads have a 14% day one retention rate, but it doesn't say anything about what those players feel. And what they feel, most of the time, is a quiet version of being laughed at. You open something because it looked fun, and you got something designed to extract money from you instead. Think about where you were the first time you played a mobile game that actually surprised you. Maybe it was 2010 and you were on a bus and someone showed you Angry Birds and you played.
Or nag-scroll lang ako and then I saw Ayakashi Ghost Skin. Bro. That was yung first time na, am I going to get... Like, tuwan-tuwa na ako na parang makakuha lang ako ng yung hindi talaga siya 5-star, like 4-star lang. Like, yo! As long as he looks good or she looks good, like, yo! Ngayon, nope. Nah, 4-star. Nope. Nah.
Played for 3 stops past your actual stop. Maybe it was Cut the Rope and you got weirdly attached to a little green blob named Om Nom. Maybe it was Temple Run, maybe it was Kingdom Rush, or even Shadow Fight. Nobody warned you those games were
played
good.
that.
You found out because the game told the truth about itself. The ad showed you the slingshot, you pulled it back, and got what you were promised. That handshake between the ad and the actual game, that moment where the thing in your hand matched the thing in your head, that was the whole relationship. That was trust. And trust, once it's gone at scale, is almost impossible to rebuild. You can't untrain a generation of people who learn to assume every ad is lying. The players who came of age in the fake ad era already already know. They swipe past, they mute the ad, they download it with zero expectation and delete it in 40 seconds. The entire emotional transaction that made the early App Store feel like something worth caring about has been hollowed out, and most people couldn't even tell you exactly when it happened. The studios doing this are not stupid. They know the retention numbers. They know fake ad players churn. They know the lifetime value is terrible. They know, on some level, that they are training their own audience to stop trusting them. And yet the quarterly pressure, the CPI targets, the investor decks that need to show install growth, all of it keeps pushing the same direction. So maybe the way out isn't waiting for a regulator to draw a bright line, or hoping the algorithm eventually figures out that
Nakafocus lang
honest
talaga
ads
sa
build better
numbers.
businesses. Maybe the way out is simpler and harder than that. Make something worth showing. That's all the early studios did. Rovio didn't have a choice. They just had Angry Birds, and Angry Birds was enough. Zeptolab didn't have a choice. They just had Omnom, and Omnom was enough. They showed you the thing, and the thing was worth your time, and that was the whole pitch. The studios that figure that out again, the ones that build something genuinely new, show it honestly, and let the game make the case for itself, are going to have an audience that nobody else can buy. Because you can't buy trust back with a lower CPI. You can only build it the way it was built in the first place, by making something
No
worth
zombie
showing and then just
tsunami,
showing
bro.
it. That window from 2008 to maybe 2013 still exists in the memory of everyone who lived through it. The feeling of opening the App Store and finding something that had no business being that fun. The feeling of handing your phone to someone and watching their face. The feeling of an ad that just showed you a game, and a game that actually was what the ad
Minecraft
showed.
ba to?
The players are still there. They still pick up their phones.
May
They still download
rhinoceros
things.
na sa
They just
Minecraft.
stopped expecting anything good to happen when they do. Someone could change that. They just have to make something worth the honesty. So
True.
you're watching.
Okay, so like natin yung video. Okay. Thank you. CRG explains. And now, ano ba kayo? Nahit ba kayo ng nostalgia? Ako, man. Grabe. Anyway, I hope na sa mga gamers dyan, no? And the common denominator here is numbers, no? Wala, ganun talaga eh. It's a job, no? Gotta get that bag, man. See you ulit sa susunod. Ako nga pa si Lancelin. God bless.